It was a gray winter morning. On that ominous February day in 1916, an unusual stillness hung over the Verdun Valley, a silence, but only for a brief moment, because just minutes later, history was about to open one of its darkest chapters. At 7:15 a.m., the sky suddenly darkened. The earth trembled. German artillery unleashed a barrage toward Verdun that sounded like the end of the world. For hours, not minutes, the sky rained not water, but steel. Witnesses later said the ground seemed to breathe. Flames climbed into the sky, and the earth roared like a wakened beast. This was how Verdun began. Not simply a battle, but a hell where a nation was tested and the limits of human endurance were pushed beyond imagination. Germany's plan was clear. Defeating France entirely wasn't the goal. It was to break them, wear them down, bleed them dry. Falkenhayn's idea was simple. The French must defend Verdun, so we will make them bleed for it. Verdun was more than a place to France. It was a symbol, a fortress of resistance, a shield across centuries. If Verdun fell, it wouldn't just be a military loss. It would be a wound carved into the heart of the French nation. After the bombardment, German troops advanced. Through mud, smoke, and clouds of dust, they moved like a ghostly army. Their first targets were the mighty forts guarding Verdun. WW1, France's most powerful fortress, a giant of concrete and steel. And yet, shockingly, it fell almost without a fight, captured by a small German unit. When news reached Paris, a cold wave swept across the country. Could Verdun really fall? Could France actually break? But sometimes the fate of a war changes with a single sentence. This was when General Philippe Pétain entered the stage and gave one command: "They shall not pass." That phrase spread through the trenches like wildfire. Every soldier, every gunner, every young man understood. Verdun wasn't just a hill or a fortress. It was the heart of France. But fighting at Verdun meant more than facing the enemy. The trenches were filled with knee-deep mud. Rats, corpses, endless artillery fire. Days without sleep, no clean water. A constant scream of explosions that tore at the mind. Soldiers said even the earth seemed to suffer. Yes, at Verdun, even the ground felt wounded. By June, Verdun produced another symbol of courage, Fort Vaux. Commander Reynal and his men held out in suffocating darkness, with no water, barely any ammunition, and collapsing tunnels. When they finally surrendered, even the German officers saluted them in respect. Verdun was a place where heroism and tragedy walked hand in hand. Throughout the summer, the Germans pushed forward, but in July a new storm erupted, the Battle of the Somme. Germany now had to fight two massive battles at once. Verdun's pressure began to ease. The French caught their breath, reorganized, and prepared for the counterattack. By autumn, France struck back. Across shattered hills, bomb-torn forests, and muddy graveyards, the battle shifted again. In October, Douaumont was retaken. Soon after, Fort Vaux was freed. The flame of Verdun began to burn once more. And in December 1916, after 302 days of relentless fire and unimaginable suffering, the nightmare finally ended. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers were dead, wounded, or missing. The landscape itself had changed. Forests erased, hills reshaped, soil mixed with steel and bone. But France's will had not been broken. "They shall not pass" became a part of national memory, etched into the identity of a nation. The cost of Verdun was immense, but the lesson it left behind was even greater. In the end, No one truly won. No side emerged triumphant. The only victor was exhaustion, pain, and silence. Today, if you visit Verdun, you'll still find unexploded shells buried beneath the soil. The wind moves through the quiet fields, as if carrying the echoes of the past. A reminder whispered softly, "This must never happen again." Verdun was one of humanity's darkest moments, and yet one of the strongest voices calling for peace. Its story does not only belong to the past, it is a warning for the future. And now, the thunder of artillery has faded, replaced by silence. But that silence still carries the memories of those who never returned.